Isn't it wonderful to know God and to know yourself as a son or daughter of God? With the faith of a child, you are raised up to life, true and real life. A few days ago, I was in a class and we were studying in the Hebrew scriptures the experience of what it's like to take the consequences of personal unrighteousness and collective foolishness and the misery that comes down when the powerful Assyrian enemy or Babylonian army takes over, the desolation that follows, the lament, the grieving. And yet, in the prophets, there was sometimes, and the book of Lamentations was part of what we read for that class, a purity of sadness, a poetry of lament that is so cleansing to experience as long as it's free of anger. Anger free. Create in us a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within us. And the passage that I and my assigned fellow student were to work on was Isaiah 30, verses 15 through 18. And we studied and made a report and got from the professor, from this wonderful teacher, an explanation. And I can't validate that explanation by looking at the verses. But I love what it's saying. I love the message. It starts out like this: "For thus says the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest, you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. But you refused and said no." And now I'm letting go of the translation and the interpretation and just saying, in that self-power resistance to the will and the way of God, that refusal to consent to worship, that refusal of righteousness, the consequence for the individual and the nation, and nowadays, let's say, the planet, is, well, we've seen World War twice in the previous century. The world is darkening. The engines of another world war are revving up. Will we be able to break through with the spiritual renaissance before, in the uncertainty, so many writers are writing visions of desolation, dystopian fiction? Painters, dance ensembles. Beware. What are we doing to ourselves personally, socially, economically, politically, on the planet with our brothers and sisters? The desolation after trusting in our own powers. There we are, like on a lonely hill with a tattered banner on a flagpole, there for everyone to see our foolish unrighteousness, our refusal to consent to worship the true God in spirit and in truth. But the end of the message sounds like this: therefore, the Lord waits to be gracious to you. Therefore, he will rise up to show mercy to you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all those who wait for him. What's hardest for us today, many of us, is to return or break through and break through the material resistances in the human heart and gain the faith and trusting dependence of a little child. That is our salvation. Confucius launched a tradition that generated a book. I believe I remember this is the one called The Great Learning. And there's an amazing sentence in it with a wonderful truth that any religious tradition can appropriate to its own heart. In a certain way, socio-politically, there's a simplicism to it. But at the depth, there's a wise simplicity. The sentence fragment goes, if there is righteousness in the heart, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, the country will be well governed. If there's harmony in the home, the nation will be well governed. If the nation is well governed, there will be peace in the world. It starts with the individual, the family, the nation, the world. And that righteousness in the heart begins with the faith in God, the faith and trusting dependence of a little child in the one who has been revealed as our Father. Good day.